These are the latter days.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. One of the things the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints does not tell us about church history is that Joseph Smith's events, when he mentions a date in his visions, is using the Jewish calendar. For example, Joseph Smith History, verse 29, he says, the evening of the 21st of September, 1823, he has his second vision. This is the next day for the Jews. But in 1823, September 21st was Sunday, and thus the 16th. But because it's the evening, it's the 17th of Tishri. This was the Feast of Tabernacles, tents, sukkahs. And it's technically the third day, being in the evening. And so Joseph Smith is then told that every year on that day he is supposed to return for instruction, and then on the 1827, September 22nd, which he doesn't go on the 21st in the evening, it's on the 22nd in the evening, thus the 23rd in the Jewish calendar, depending on whether the day is actually the 23rd or not. That's a different thing. And so in 1827, he receives the plates on the first, technically the second, of Cheshvan. It's the 8th month in the religious calendar. And so this is interesting when you look at the latter days. So we can then check 1830. Because all of his visions are prophecies and revelations for the latter days. April 6th, 1830, that evening when they did their meeting, was the starting of Passover. There's a reason why he does the dates when he does the dates. 1836, Joseph Smith has the temple dedication, and then a week later, on the 3rd of April, he then has his vision in section 110. And sure enough, Passover again. This time it's the 3rd day of Passover. These are not coincidences. And in 1844, when he died, there is not a day connection for June 27th when he died. But if you know about the Tree of Life in Jewish Kabbalah, you would understand the significance of 180 years. Joseph Smith dies and is laid in the ground, just like a seed planted in the ground. And so 180 years later is 2024. Not a coincidence. And so it's important to utilize the Jewish calendars when you're using church history, but more especially how it applies to the latter days. And I've been trying to help educate you on all of this. And so we're in the month of Kislev still, this is actually the final day, or second to the final day. It's 30 days for Kislev. There's nothing for the 30th of Kislev or the 31st of December. And there's nothing for today either. Yeah, tomorrow is the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. That corresponds with the Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. And so this is why I've been making calendars to show you. If I had been notified of the big picture at the beginning, I would have been able to do all this hard manual labor work from the beginning as I did it, so that I would not have to have it become a project that it becomes overwhelming, since I'm doing all of this all by myself. Line upon line, my hell. So, what I've noticed is that for the latter days, there is a Jewish calendar involvement. There is a scripture prophecy involvement. And there are revelation dates in scripture prophecy. And there are signs in the heavens that all tie into this. And thus I made my Kislev month and added to it as I found more stuff. And so yeah, I'll be making one for the next 3 months, because apparently that's how much time we have left. So frustrating. Why couldn't we just go peacefully to Zion back in 2017? Why? Can you explain that to us, Nelson? Gotcha. You're the enemy. That's what Mormons don't understand, is because if I were to just talk about the coolness of how everything connects to the Jewish calendars, Mormons say, okay, great, fine, whatever. But they're not able to make the connection. It means the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as Christian is not true. Mormons can't make that leap, even though it's a deductive result. Jewish, 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 thus Jewish. Not Jewish, 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 thus Christian. Wrong conclusion. And it's very frustrating that Mormons are unwilling to see the bigger picture, that the church is the enemy. Because when it talks about Mormons being held in bondage, Mormons disconnect from the church holding them in bondage. The abomination of desolation is what I've been trying to educate you on over and over again, because that's what the church leaders are sensitive about when I do those videos. There's sex crimes. And so understanding the real history, not the Christianized revisionist history, understanding that the scriptures are not history, but prophecy and revelation of the future with their Jewish Christ, then you begin to see more clearly what the Jewish authors are talking about, as you purge yourself of Christian interpretation, thus Mormon Christian interpretation. And so as I'm still, this morning I finally got the templates of each of the Latter-day calendar years and have set it up for the big project that I have ahead of me. I just want one woman, that's it, to be my partner. Just one. Is that too much to ask? Yes? Okay, fine, whatever. And so we'll just do the one that is coming up tomorrow, which is the 5th dark day of Hanukkah for this video. And for this we'll need to go to Revelation chapter 12. So 1 and 2 is established as factual for the 23rd of September 2017. Not a coincidence. So in verse 3, you have another sign in the heavens. This is a different date, using astronomy for the date. This isn't witchcraft, this isn't astrology, this is astronomy. Everybody knows the sun rises every single morning. Maybe you recognize that it's at a different time throughout the year, and that it sets every single evening. Same thing. That there's the moon, and it's not always full. In fact, it's rarely full. These are things that are science, real. These are not witchcraft, these are not spiritual witness feelings. You can physically experience them with your 5 senses. And so, yes, the planets, and the constellations that they go in. And this is why the ancients designated the constellations as animals or humans, called anthropomorphizing, and even designated the naming of the celestial bodies in accordance with deities from their scripture prophecies. Not literal histories. That's Christians getting into the fields of science to destroy the science, to prove their church is true. And so when you see verse 1, for example, talking about a woman in heaven, it's not an actual woman. And you're not supposed to say, well, that's the Mother Mary, and this is 25th of December 1 CE. Unless you're Mormon, then it's 6th of April 1 CE. No, that's not how the Jews did it. What are you doing? Quit screwing it up. And so she's clothed with the sun. This is Virgo. The sun is in Virgo. This only happens for 1 month of the year, as the sun goes around the earth as we see it from Earth, once a month. And it's the middle of September to the middle of October now. And so if you knew astronomy, back in the Roman period time when this was written, it was the middle of August to the middle of September when the sun was in Virgo. So for them, the author of this book, to to write it in such a manner as to prophesy about a future event of the coming of the Jewish Christ, spoiler alert, with this precise date of the 23rd of September 2017 is incredible, because he knows astronomy. He knows that the sun will be in Virgo in a different calendar month, but he doesn't know the calendar month, because this is universal from the heavens. And so then you realize that Gregory, the Pope, screwed up the calendar. And so now the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th months are now the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th months. Still keeping the same names of the original names of the months. December is supposed to be the 10th month, not the 12th. Decem. Decade. It's not 12, it's 10. And so understanding this helps you understand what they're explaining for you. And so the moon under her feet, yeah, because the moon goes around the earth as we see it from Earth, 29.4 days. And so this narrows down the date. The more you add, the more precise of a date. And right now, this is the one and only time that all of the celestial bodies will be in this position. They will never be in this same position, ever. This is it, that's all. It is a precise once only time, day and hour. So yes, all of you who are immediately hoping to prove the Christian Mormon church true by saying, no man knows the day or the hour, there it is, right there. He knew. What do you mean, no man knows the day or the hour? That's an outright lie. And so thus you can then go back and do linguistic analysis and find out that it was a dumbass Christian who wrote it in. So, verse 3, now that we've explained this, because there's some Joseph Smith translation stuff involved here that confirms that Joseph knew too, thanks to Daddy. And there appeared another sign in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, 7 heads, 10 horns, 7 crowns upon his heads. Serpents. The 7 heads are the 10 stars that designate the head. The tail doesn't have 10 stars. That's where we get the precise date. This was on the 17th of December, 2017. This was the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. Tomorrow. But back in 2017. We're getting to a Joseph Smith translation. I've already tipped you on it in previous videos. Did you endure long enough to find out? Did you? And so, then we have another one, which has already happened. We already know. These are all established factual dates. Verse 4, his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. That's the quadranted meteor showers at the tail of Draco the dragon. Every year. And it was on January 2nd. January 2nd, 2018. Any Mormon remember what significant event happened that evening at 10:01 p.m.? Bye-bye, Monson. Bye-bye. Yep, Monson. Scriptural prophecy, scriptural revelation, sign in the heavens. And he dies under the curse of Joseph Smith. And so, yeah, I'm still waiting for Nelson to die. And I am waiting for the second to see if that's going to happen, because I'm testing something. Where did I put that? Yeah. Last night, as I shut off the computer and was going to bed, it came to mind. And I went, really? That would be cool, but I'm angry with you right now. Extending this for 3 more months. Don't go to bed angry. Oh God. My dream was very vivid and memorable when I woke up this morning. It didn't seem to be a prophetic dream, but it was interesting. The Bennetts were involved, as I had had a stake President Bennett in Utah, but then I had gone up to Canada, where the Bennett family were, and they were involved in some kind of secretive criminal operation, and it involved an alteration of Joseph Smith. It was weird, but it's a dream. That's what makes them fun. And so, yeah, there was women involved, but no fun stuff. Anyway, okay. So all of these have factually happened, and church history has now been made with them. You'll notice that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is in denial of any of this. They do not claim that the book of Revelation has been fulfilled. They do not claim that Thomas S. Monson is the star that fell from the tail of the dragon. And for good reason. Because it means they're the great and abominable church. And so they can't admit the truth. And so I am very curious, because the curse of Joseph Smith involves sun shall be darkened, moon turn to blood, stars fall from heaven. We're now 3 months out from the last sun shall be darkened and moon turn to blood. The next ones are not until March. The moon turn to blood will be on Purim 15th. Anybody who's been watching me knows about the significance of the number 15 for me, because of my 9/11 dream this year. And so if this isn't a prophecy, this is an if Nelson were to die also on the 2nd of January, which is also the quadrantid meteor shower peak. it would likewise, with Monson, fulfill scriptural prophecy, scriptural revelation, and the curse of Joseph Smith is now explained because it's 3 months after and 3 months before. Sun shall be darkened, moon turn to blood, stars fall from heaven. And so in 2018, Nelson became the new president on the 14th of January. I had to look it up. That was a Sunday after the funeral services. And so you see the parallel. Monson's dead and buried. Nelson now takes over. Joseph Smith, dead and buried. 180 years later, we're still waiting. So Oakes will take over this time. And we need the calendar for 2025. And so it takes 3 days for the coroner to do his work. So that will be finished on Sunday. And so his funeral would be, the viewing would be on the 10th of Tevet, which would be really cool symbolically. And then the 11th for the funeral service, and then most likely on the 12th, Oakes would be sworn in as the next successor. And so with the 15th involving Purim, it would be really cool symbolically to match with the Jewish prophecies, revelations, calendar, for him to die on the 15th with Holland, leaving Irene. 9/11, the dream. So that would be very, very curious. Otherwise, I am curious about the 15th this month because it's a double 15. The 15th in our calendar is the 15th in the Jewish calendar. But other than that, I don't see any other rhyme or reason. Maybe Holland could die, but then it wouldn't be with the sun shall be darkened, moon turn to blood, like Ballard and Hales. Or Perry, Packer, Scott. Or Faust. Or McConaughey. Yeah, the curse of Joseph Smith. It'll get you every time. So, as I'm sure all of you are aware, Hanukkah starts on Christmas Day Eve and ends 2nd of January. 2nd of January is the quadranted meteor showers. Back in Revelation chapter 12, verse 3 was the 17th of December for the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. And then verse 4 is the 2nd of January 2018. Hanukkah and the quadranted meteor showers are not connected. This year they are. Verse 3 and 4 are connected as one this year. So we go to the Joseph Smith translation. Verse 5 is moved to verse 3 because that's the actual birth sign, the start of the latter days. And then verse 3 is combined with verse 4, rather than making 3, 4, and 4, 5. Weird. See, they kept the verses 1 to 3 separated. Didn't combine them into one, since it's all one sign anyway. But verse 3 and 4 got combined together as one. Interesting. They purposely did that so that you would notice. And even when you read the footnote to Revelation chapter 12, 1 to 17, it says, Appendix, note the changed sequence of verses. But they have no clue why. It's just something that they noticed. They don't know how to explain it. That's what Joseph is telling you. This is the final year. First year, final year. Joseph Smith translation. So that's why I'm very attentive as to what may be coming up on January 2nd. And so, yeah, it could all be screwed up. The whole church could finally fall on January 2nd. There's supposed to be a nuke anytime soon. Not my prophecy. That's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints altering the interpretation of the Jewish understanding of the abomination of desolation as spoken of by Daniel. It's referring to the Greeks coming in, taking over the Jerusalem temple, destroying the altar, rebuilding it in 10 days, and then beginning to offer their Greek religious offerings on the oven that burned as an oven. And then also practiced prostitution, paying for sex. Mormons are going, we don't do any of that. Joseph Smith gave Brigham Young permission as the president of the 12 only to preach the gospel. Keys of temple. No, he didn't, you dumbasses. Everybody has their responsibilities. They can't go beyond that. What the hell are you thinking, believing Brigham Young, who said, Joseph gave me authority to do this, and then changes everything? Dumbass. My hell. No, Brigham Young is not authorized. Joseph Smith exposed Brigham as the enemy. He's not going to give him permission to alter the temple. Only the head of the church, who's the Jewish Christ. God, not Peter, James, and John of sowing seed. And yeah, Brigham Young sowed seed on his mission too, along with his Danite missionaries. Nicolaitan Band, gotta follow my channel. You can't think that I'm wrong just because it's not something you've heard of. And that you have to defend the church at all costs. Section 119, you have to pay tithing in order to get sealed in the temple. Thus, you have to pay to have sex with a Mormon girl only in the temple. Prostitution, the abomination of desolation. But this church turned it into a nuclear holocaust. And so in order for it to be true, they have to cause it. So they've already paid the Judas price. We're just waiting to find out when that special day will be, when everybody is nuked and utterly wasted at his coming. They that come shall burn you. Hey, Joseph knew. Isn't that coincident? Okay? So, this is a real quick, simple video. But that's what we got coming for the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. Is that tomorrow is in connection with the 2nd of January, but Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. The sign in the heavens is not in accordance with this. We can check. Slave. Looking for Hanukkah. So now I've got to reorganize my files. There we go. There we go. Just 4, 5. So yeah, Jupiter is still, oh my God. Just not happy with Microsoft. I wanted the way it was, and forced me to upgrade, forced me to accept whatever upgrades you tell me I have to have, and I don't want them. It's not helping me. So Jupiter, your Christ, in stellarium symbology, likeness of things on the earth. That's Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. It makes it very clear that the signs in the heavens are the day and the hours, times of the future prophecies. That's why they're animals and humans that are involved in the zodiac, so they can tell stories. So the Apis bull is the transfer of authority, thus why Jupiter is there. And it now makes more sense. I'm not happy about it. Why there's another 3 more months, because Jupiter will finish his retrograding and begin to head off into Geminid. And so we're expecting that when he gets to the top of the horns, that will be the actual transfer of authority. But we have to run the test and check and find out and blah, blah, blah. It's stuff that I have yet to do as a project. And so, yeah, you have Mars still in the Crab constellation. You have the remnants of the former falling stars that we had for Kislev that I've gone over with you already. And the sun and the moon are there together because it's the new moon. And it's in Sagittarius, right there at the, what's the head, shield, and the bow and arrow at the front of it. Very interesting. And so, yeah, Mars is Nelson, in case you hadn't been following, because when Monson died, Mars was at the top of the scales of Libra. Mars is also the baby name meaning of Russell Marion. Very cool. How did they know? And so we do have Mercury giving an announcement at the inner thigh of the high priest symbol of Ophiuchus. It's not the high priest symbol, it's the throne of God. Ophiuchus. Aquarius is the one I was thinking of. And so the inner thigh is for covenant path, stuff from Genesis. And so that's very interessante. As the throne of God, the covenant of the throne of God with a message on that day, tomorrow. Very interesting. Okay, where was Venus? Didn't see Venus. Sun, moon. Venus is that Venus? There she is. Ah, the thorn in the side of the high priest symbol. Saturn is still getting purified with the water of the high priest symbol. Interesting. Yeah, so she's finished in the goat beast. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, we'll put this picture up as well for you. So, yeah, when this is how you study. Did that video yesterday, didn't I? How to study. Or some such thing like that. Where the church doesn't want you to study, as they're bringing out the church history stuff, Doctrine and Covenants stuff for next year's Sunday school home teaching. Which is no longer home teaching, it's now teaching in the home. Parents are supposed to do it now. Prophets are passing the buck. They've lied and deceived you, and now they're letting you go. Alrighty.